Hello and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I told you it was like a chat get ready with me kind of thing, and I wanted to do like another I guess life update, but this one is gonna be like a story time too. I mentioned that, the guy would get onto us if our dogs barked one way, like somehow or another. Like, he would get so mad. And Josh's boss told him, like, he has people come with dogs to live in his trailer park. He should have set us on the opposite end if he didn't want to hear our dogs. Why would you let dogs in your dog park, or even advertise dogs, or have a place for dogs to go to the bathroom in your RV park if you don't even want to hear them barking? And then you put the dog park, or the dog restroom area right in front of your house. Like, if you have this much if this is such a problem for you, why do you have everything near your house for the dogs? That doesn't make sense to me. And he also didn't have, the dog area was not fenced in properly. Like, the fence, it had holes on the bottom of the fence so my dogs could go through it, and there was like 2 gates on the other end. And when you have a dog park, you're supposed to have like a little area to unleash your dog, and then they can run into the dog park. But if you have your dog on a leash and you have to wait to get in the gate when there's other dogs in that gate, you're gonna have some issues, because if a dog's hold back and another dog's showing aggression, then that dog's gonna think that you're holding it back and it's a dangerous dog, and it's gonna be very territorial. We go to the actual dog park, like the big one that I always film, and it has like the fire hydrants in and stuff. That one, it has like a little area so you can unleash your dogs, put the leash on the gate, and then they can go loose. And once they're loose and everything, like, they're fine, they just run in with the rest of the dogs and they all like have fun and whatever. But if you go in with the dog still on the leash, all the dogs are gonna get very territorial and aggressive. I don't know why. It's kind of like when you hold back a guy at a bar and he's like, "No, let me at him," and you hold him back. It's kind of like that. Nothing was dog friendly in that place. So I was doing the best that I could. I brought my dogs to the dog park. If there was somebody at the dog park, I would wait for them to be done, because I didn't want to go in and they think that they had to leave. And everybody at the dog park, for some weird reason, the first 2 weeks that we were there, if I was in the dog park, somebody would wait on us and stand by the gate, and I would tell them, like, "You can come in." They're like, "No, thank you." I was sitting there, I was like, okay, fine. Then I'm gonna wait here, wait until my dogs go to the restroom, and you can wait right there. And I think that same day though, or that same moment, when I was headed to get the dogs out of the dog park and get their leashes, first off, when I have their leashes and I say, "Let's go," the dogs come straight to me and they're ready to go home. And same thing with the big dog park. The big dog park, where they can run around, like a whole football field length, they can run around. I can call them in there and they come straight to me. Like, that's how well behaved my dogs are. When I was getting the leashes, he made a comment. He's like, "Okay, I've held my tongue long enough." And he's like, "You're gonna have to do something with those dogs. You have to control them," is the main phrase that really bothered me. He told me, "You have to control them." And I was like, "Excuse me? I don't know what you're getting at, that my dogs are not controllable." I was like, "Yeah, they bark." But when they barked, they would like bark, you know how like they have like a group of barks, like woo 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 woo, and then they like stop, and then woo, and then they go back to like barking like that. Like, that's how they bark. So when they do that first one, I'm like, like, I get them straightened out really quick, and they stop, and then like they try doing it again, I tell them no. And it's broad daylight, so nobody's sleeping. I don't see why that's a problem if dogs are barking when no one's sleeping. Like, if it was 2 o'clock in the morning and they're barking like excessively, then that's when I'm just like, But we've never had anybody comes to our house and telling us that they couldn't sleep. But I know people would go straight to the main guy or the owner, and he would tell us that people were complaining, and I don't see why they would be complaining, because they would never bark at night. We set them out at 10 o'clock so they can go to the bathroom, and I sit out there with them, so if they do bark, I'm really quick to tell them no. And like they were fine. And then they would come in for the rest of the night, and then I'll let them out at 9 o'clock the next day, or even 10 o'clock the next day. And again, people should be up by that time, so if they are barking, no big deal. He would still be complaining about her dogs. And I told Josh, I'm like, they're gonna complain about Kimber because she's a girl, and when girl dogs pee, they leave like a spot in the grass. I'm like, they're gonna complain that she's killing their grass. And then Josh's like, no, it's fine. What do you know? The next few weeks, like it's been a month now, Josh bought some like leashes and stuff so we can like hook them to the trailer and they can sit outside. But we bought those leashes so they can like stay outside next to the trailer, and they're just hooked up to the trailer and they're just like walking around, and it's like a good, like they can run around still and get their energy out and not be cooped up in a camper all day for the rest of their lives. And so they would go to the bathroom next to the RV in the little area, and I know when it started getting fall, it was a little bit harder to pick up the dog poo, because when I was picking that up, like I could get most of it, and then I'd have to pick up leaves too, because there'd be a bunch of leaves during the fall, because that's when we moved over here, was around August, September. So I would pick up everything, and then we started getting complaints that there was dog crap everywhere. And I told Josh, I was like, there's gotta be another dog around here, because I pick up after them every time they go out. And I was like, it cuts into my chores, so it's out. So we got a note on our door, and Josh went straight up to the guy. This note said that there will be a fine if they have to pick it up. So I told Josh, I'm like, they can pay the fine if like we have money, if they're worried about that. If like it smells over here, or if it's where like if there's dog crap everywhere to where you can't even walk without stepping on one, they can get mad at us. I made sure it was spotless, like you couldn't see any of it. And I would always have a trash can and like a little like scooper thing, and I would pick it up, and if I heard the lawnmower going when they were landscaping and stuff, then I would make sure to go out there and pick it up before the lawnmower came over. And I could tell when they couldn't, or when they did mow and when they didn't. And a lot of times that they complained about us and the dog crap, they did not mow our yard. And I told Josh, I'm like, they didn't mow it. And then he's like, well, that's on them. He's like, they didn't mow it, they didn't mow it. And I went out there, and there was no dog crap anywhere. And then they got mad and said, oh, well, there's cigarette butts, and we're not picking those up, and we're not going to tear it up to get it in the yard. And I told Josh, I'm like, cigarette butts? And he's like, I put mine in a bottle. And we went out there, and there were cigarette butts, but they weren't even like the ones that Josh smokes. He was just complaining to try to get us out there, or out of there. So then we started getting notes about our pipes freezing over in the camper, and we would turn on our faucet and it would be running water, and we told them like, no, we're fine. And then we got another note saying that they found more dog in the yard. And what was funny is I picked up all the dog poo. This was right before we left to Louisiana for the holidays, and I just cleaned our yard, picked up all the dog poo, like everything. So I even raked the yard and had the leaves picked up to where our yard was like the cleanest one in the whole RV park. And we come back, and there's dog poo, and there's cat everywhere. And I thought it was funny because when I left, I picked it all up. So when we came back, either somebody planted it there, or the guy next door to us, who also had dogs that wouldn't go on leashes, he would let them roam around. I bet he had them coming in our yard and pooping, or he didn't care if they came in our yard because we didn't complain, because everybody else complained on us. But I told Josh, I was like, joke's on him now. Like, we cleaned our yard before we left. I even had pictures and stuff, and Josh's boss was finally like, you know what? He's called, like, the guy, the owner of the RV park, called Josh's boss and the company in Bossier. Like, that's how desperate he wanted us out of there. So he called all of us, Josh's boss, the building here, and then the building in Bossier. He was calling like 4 people, and he was calling them back to back to back to back. Like, if Josh's boss had a break, he would try calling the front office, and then the front office would be busy, and then he would try calling another office, they would be busy, and the other office would call back to him and say, sorry, like this guy is calling me, and then he would get a call back and the guy would be calling him. That's how desperate this guy wanted us out of there, and that's how like rude and like manipulative and stuff that guy was. Like, he didn't want us there, and it was clear. And Josh's boss was telling us that it was only us that he was doing it to, and he thought it was funny because there's another camper in there, and it was a bunch of guys, but they're not in that camper as much as like me and Josh are. Like, I'm in that camper 24/7 with the dogs, trying to take care of the dogs, trying to take care of the house, trying to take care of my husband, trying to do 10 million things at once. I told Josh, I'm like, please apologize, tell your boss, like, I am so sorry, like, we're not trying to get into anything. And then his boss was like telling us, it's fine, we know that that guy is like really rude. When he doesn't like people in his RV park, he doesn't want them in there, and he'll push them out as much as he wants to just to get them out. And apparently he's doing that to like 3 or 4 other campers, because they were telling us, or we were told that they didn't want to go up on prices because this guy wants to go to $1,000 per lot to put campers on, which I think is stupid, because you're paying for this really tiny section of, you know, nothing. It's just dirt, nothing special about it. They have like picnic tables, and that's about it. And then there's a tree in your way, so you can't put out the awning. That's a part of your camper. So you can't do anything. Can't do DirecTV out there. You can't do cable. You can't do nothing. And so this new RV park that we're at now, we actually have a concrete slab. So we can actually have like a piece of concrete next to our camper. There's a little tree, but out of the way, so we can actually use our camper to the fullest. We have more room. The dogs can bark and nobody cares. Like, they're doing the same that they are over here. We've been here for about 3 days now, but I bet after 2 weeks we're not gonna have any problems, because after 2 weeks we had problems at the other camper. And it was only because we had big dogs, we were a young couple, and they thought that they could get away with it. And they want their RV park for some weird reason to be like a 5-star resort hotel. I understand if it was like a really nice apartment complex. I'm living on the land. I'm living on dirt, and he's charging me, or charging us $1,000, or trying to charge us $1,000 for us to be on this like itty bitty piece of lot. Like, no. Here the dogs have more room to run and everything, and that's just being beside the camper. It's just, luckily it's just me and Josh, and we're able to like be calm about it and be like, you know what, dude, bye, not even worth it. We're only paying $400, $410, $420 in this place, and it's 10 times nicer. God has a plan for us, and we're doing good right now. We don't need that RV park, and I'm glad we're out of there. That is it for the story time. I don't know what other video I'm gonna put up, but if you have any ideas, put them down. Stay tuned for the next video. Saturday is where I actually start working. So thank you for watching again, and have a nice day.